Teen Titans number 0, written by Scott Lobdell, art by Tyler Kirkham. This is the origin story for Tim Drake as Red Robin. And ostensibly, there might be Bunker and Skitter in this issue too, but there isn't. There is literally none, and I don't know why they even pretended that. So we open up. Tim Drake is at a gymnastics event where he does amazing feats. He's just incredible at everything. And Batman's narrating the whole thing and basically tells us that Tim Drake is incredible at everything. No matter what he does, he always gives 110% and just aces it. And we see his parents in the crowd like, he is the best kid. Oh my God, he's amazing. And they're all just like singing his praises and whatnot. We see afterwards out in the parking lot, his parents are like, we are so proud of you. You want to go out for ice cream, son? What do you want to do? Anything you want, it's yours. And he's like, actually, I got a late night project. I got to go take care of it. See you guys soon. And he's like, no problem, son. You're the best. So during this whole thing, we see an elderly pair of man like making their way into an SUV. And it turns out it's actually Batman and Alfred in disguise. And they're just keeping an eye on Tim because apparently Tim's after-school project he's been working on is just figuring out who Batman is. And apparently he's basically got it. He's like 100% on the path. He knows what's up. And the whole reason he's doing so is that he noticed that Batman's been off his game ever since the death of the previous Robin. And he pieced all that together and he's basically going to say, hey, I'll be your new Robin. And Batman's like, hey, I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm keeping a very close eye on this Tim Drake guy. Especially because he still definitely has a family. So Tim gets in and his dad basically says like, hey, look, you're destined for great things, son. Don't think that it's whatever me or your mother want. Like, it's whatever you want. But no matter what, it's going to be great. And he's like, okay, thanks, Dad. Bye. And so he goes into his room, but then ends up sneaking out afterwards because he's finally pieced it all together that the Gotham Aviary, because of this long chain of all these things that are owned by these people, it must be Batman who's actually the one behind it. So he comes in and he figures out that Batman must have his Batcave in the Gotham Aviary. And as he gets in, Batman's there waiting, and he's like, "Hey, you found out me? You found me. What do you want?" And he's like, honestly, I basically just want to come in and apply for the job of Robin." And he's like, yeah, here's the deal. Job's not open. I'm not looking for a Robin. And also, every one of the clues you found that led you here was planted by me. Like, I don't actually work out of here. I just wanted to meet you here so I could tell you, cut it out. And basically tells him, like, this is a matter of life or death. And he's like, oh, life or death? You mean like the last Robin? He's like, all right, we're done here. Bye. And Batman just bails on Tim. And Batman keeps on saying how, like, he thought that would be the end of it, but Tim is apparently very motivated. Who would have thunk it? So, at one point, Batman, it looks like he has a bunch of Batman-related stuff on his laptop, and Batman literally pops into, as far as I can tell, an AIM chat as realbat_01 saying, hey, cut it out, I'm serious. And Tim just ends up closing the laptop. So, couple weeks pass by, and then all of a sudden, Alfred's waiting for Batman as he gets back into the Batcave after a long night, saying like, hey, that Tim Drake kid, he's gone full Robin Hood. He's stealing money from rich people and giving it to poor people, and he started with like $10 million out of the Penguin's account. So this kid's going to be dead by morning unless you get to his house first. So Batman speeds off, and wouldn't you know it, there are assassins all around Tim Drake's house. They all start firing on it. Batman busts in, protects Tim, and he looks over to his parents' room like, oh my God, did I make myself an orphan? But no, his parents are fine. They're just scared for him. And Batman takes out all the shooters, and then he calls in a lot of favors with the DOJ, Department of Justice, and he basically gets Tim's parents put into witness protection. But Tim, because Tim has his whole life ahead of him and was like very talented and very well known, he's like, hey, I'm gonna take Tim in. Batman says, I'm gonna take Tim in and you're gonna live with me, and therefore you can at least be protected while you're with me. And yeah, fine, you can be a Robin. And they shake hands and become partners. Tim says goodbye to his parents because they have to go into witness protection. But then he's like, okay, well, now I'm in the Batcave, and Alfred pulls out Jason's old Robin uniform. He's like, well, here you go. He's like, actually, I'm going to make my own out of respect to Jason. Also, I've got some better ideas. Then we get this one panel that shows Bunker and Skitter, and theoretically that's supposed to be the, oh, they've always been here, but like, no, they're not. And then Tim shows up, and he's now in his Red Robin gear, and he calls himself Red Robin instead of Robin. And that's how it all began. Okay, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't know that much about Tim going into this. I don't know if this is new canon or if it's old canon, just brought into the new stuff. I didn't know his parents were still alive. That was a surprise for me. But hey, that's its own thing. That's interesting enough. I've got it all down now, and it does explain more to me why Tim was such, at least in the New 52, a temporary thing, because Damien then popped up so soon afterwards, and it did feel like Tim was more of a, yeah, this is more like an internship to me, where I'm then going to move on to bigger things. So yeah, I'm at least, I like the story. Art-wise, it's okay. It's good throughout. It's nothing blowing me away. Some of the faces are a little bit heavy on inks for me personally, but there are those who enjoy it. So overall, I'd say this is a... I give it a 6.5, but it's a high 6.5. And the only reason it's not a 7 is because, like, they keep on saying how Batman was like, I told him not to, and I thought that would work. And it's like, really? That's okay, sure. It seems like a misjudgment on Batman's part. It seems like a mischaracterization where he's just like, yeah, I said no, and usually people listen to me. But whatever. Overall, it is a decent issue, and I guess worth checking out if you're interested in this version of Tim Drake.